So, Steinhoff, we know, is a substantial player. It's an integrated retailer and manufacturer of furniture and other household goods in Europe, Africa, Australasia, and of course it's in the process of merging with Pepkor, which is a business that was controlled by Christo Wiese. Christo Wiese, of course, having a stake in both entities. He put the guys together. This one is in the process also of finalizing its listing as a principal listing on the bourse in Frankfurt. Once it completes that in the fourth quarter of this year, which means the remaining 3 months of the year, or the last 3 months of the year, it will be a DAX 30 member in Frankfurt. That means it'll be one of the 30 largest constituent players, and certainly then start to be picked up by some of the European-based insurance companies, pension funds, and other long investors who like to own stocks as long as they're in the index. What it will be is a combination of a global group with the following principal assets. First and foremost is Conforama. That is a furniture retail brand, which is the second biggest in Europe after IKEA. They own stores principally in France, Spain, Italy, and related countries. They've also bought a number of other companies in Germany, in Austria, in the UK they have a presence. So really what you're talking about here is discount furniture resellers in the European content, and these guys source their home goods that they sell either from their own manufacturing suppliers, like for furniture and other items and desks and kitchen units. They source those and get them manufactured in Eastern Europe and Asia and elsewhere, or they do direct deals with manufacturers out in China, like LG in Korea. So what they would do is develop their own flat screen TV range, some of which is branded, some of which was in-store branded, and they would put those out in the stores. They're not involved with providing credit to end customers. Typically they have relationships with banks in store for people that need financing. So what you're investing in here is in the idea that European families, after having endured a very tough decade, are now at the point where they're about to upgrade their household goods. And perhaps even more importantly, where Junior and the sister are about to move out of mom and dad's apartment in central Paris or wherever it is. Because remember, at times of stress and when the finances are not looking good, young people stay at home and live in the basement. But when things start looking up, retail sales starts picking up, job market starts improving, that's when people move out to the burbs and get a unit of their own, and then of course they need to get furniture of their own. So, Steinhoff looks good. Pepkor gets added. Remember what Pepkor is. It's the Pep stores. It's the Ackerman stores out in Africa. They've got a fabulous business out in Europe. They've got a big business in Australia, which is not to be sneezed at. Marcus Jooste at the helm of this thing. Extremely ambitious. Extremely ambitious. Market capitalization, I needed to point that out. That's 285 billion rand. Okay, so not exactly enormous. What is that these days? That's about, 100, I'm thinking, divide by 10, divide by another 3, you work it backwards, you're talking about $20 billion compared to $65 billion of LG, compared to, companies like Facebook, which were $300 billion, Nike, $100 billion, Apple, $700 billion. So it's relatively small, but we think it's an attractive play on the emerging market theme. Plus, it's not inconceivable that the boys at Steinhoff, as ambitious as they are, will move on to another deal. People have talked about how potentially, with Christo Wiese's involvement, they may be looking additionally at an issue of, say, a merger with the Shoprite Group. Can you imagine? That would be a pretty exciting thing. Let's have a look at the share chart of this thing. You can see it's certainly moved very nicely in 2014, 2015. It's sort of topped out at around 77, 78 rands a share. It tends to follow what the DAX is doing now, interestingly. But we think it's going to do well. When that inclusion happens, when the earnings capability of the group comes through, it's certainly going to look like an interesting play. And as far as global investors are concerned, a German-listed entity with emerging market footprint is going to be attractive. So we're definitely hot on this one, and that deserves a spot in our hot stocks portfolio, as you will see later.